What's going on, guys? Alright, so I just want to start off by saying if you like what I'm doing, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Turn on notifications if you guys want to see upcoming videos and contests that I might be running, so that you can get in there and leave a comment and enter the contest right away, because there will be more. Now, today I'm going to talk about inlays and overlays and the seams that we do in order to make these look good. Now, a lot of you have questions about where do I do an inlay? Where do I do an overlay? How do I do an inlay? How do I do an overlay? Mostly your questions are about inlays. Now, an inlay is used in an area where stretching the film into that area is not really a good option. So what we do is we put a piece in that area first, and then we put the main piece over top of that area afterwards. So this is a perfect demonstration right here, a perfect example right here, is this bumper recess. Now, this one isn't that bad. I would probably one-piece this. But again, this section right here would be where we do the inlay, okay? When you're doing an inlay, what you want to do is you want to follow a hard body line. Following a hard body line is extremely important, because as we run the seam, because there's going to be a seam on that hard body line, it's going to vanish. Most of the time. This will also depend on what color you're using. Now, if you're using Avery films, they do not seam very well at all. They are very thin, so as soon as you overlap a little bit of it, it's going to change colors. Most of the colors do that in Avery. 3M not so bad, it's a little bit thicker, a little bit more opaque. And Vivid seems really well, actually. But that also depends on the backing now. So the backing on some films, it has clear adhesive. Like this chrome has clear adhesive. You can see it's really shiny and very clear. I have some white here, some of the satin white 3M. Let's see what color that is. I think it's gray. Yeah, it's like a grayish. So this will also determine how visible that seam is, the thickness of the material, and all those types of things. So generally, if this was like a deeper recess, so let's go to Lancer, Mitsubishi Lancer, or an Evo, whatever you want to call it. Newer body style, has a really sharp recess right here. I would probably most likely do an inlay in that area. Now, and when you do an inlay, we go all the way across. Super important. So I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like right now. I'm going to do it in chrome first, and we're going to see how visible the seam is, and then we're going to do it in satin white and see how visible the seam is with the satin white. And what you typically want to do is you want to have the seam facing away from the client or customer. This way it's not in their face visible. This will also depend on an angle, right? So if this line ends up being more, down here, now if we look down at it, we can see it. So maybe you want to do an overlay. Maybe you want to do this piece after and put the big piece down first. That will depend. So what you can do is you can try small pieces and see what looks better. Now, let's just say I was doing chrome, and we're going to look at this little section right here. This will be an example of, actually, I'm not going to get into overlays, sorry. We'll do overlays after. So we're doing an inlay for right now. I'll do an overlay there afterwards. Now, right now I'm going to lay some knifeless tape. I'm going to clean the surface, so I'm just going to mist it down a little bit of ISO. So 70% isopropyl alcohol, just mist it down a little bit. Now look, I'm not trying to make this perfect. I'm trying to show you as an example of how we do this. So let's grab the knifeless. So when I run the knifeless, what I'm doing, and when you run knifeless tape, make sure that you're leaving like 3-4 inches on either end. And again, all these products that I'm using, most of them are going to be in the comments below, all right, guys? Or in the description below. So I'm going to run the knifeless tape right on this body line, the best that I can, okay? This is freehand, of course, right? So what we want to do is really line that up nicely. We can't do this any other way but freehand. Now what we don't want to do is stretch the knifeless tape. Stretching the knifeless tape will lead to the knifeless tape lifting, which will cause failure when we go to use it. Just going to move that over a bit. I shouldn't even went all the way across, I should just go one corner, because it's generally the same thing on both sides. Anyways, I'm just going to cut it off there. Forget it. I'm not going to go both sides because it's going to take too long of a video. It's going to make it too long of a video. So we're going to do one side. We're going to mainly focus right over here. So I'm going to lower the camera down a little bit. And maybe bring you in kind of right about there. All right, so I'm going to grab some chrome. First things first, I'm going to do the top section, all right? This is an inlay. So inlays go in first. The overlays go over after. All right, so that's probably a good piece. Toss the rest of that in there. I'm going to remove the capping because this is pitted rose gold chrome. Make sure my knifeless tape is secure. I'm only going to go to about here, so we're just going to focus on that area so you can see what happens. Let's just say I was doing this in chrome, this bumper, I would probably do an inlay in this area. Again, there is this little step piece that goes here, so maybe, maybe not, depends on how that little step piece is. Now, the purpose of an inlay, okay, the main purpose is to have no tension on the inlay. Do not add tension to the inlay, okay? I'm gonna lower the camera down a little bit. If you're adding tension to this inlay right here, what that's going to do is it's going to defeat the purpose. If you stretch it into this recess, it just defeats the purpose. What's the point of doing that? So what's the point of doing an inlay? So your inlay has to be tension free, okay? That's a very critical point. Mostly tension free, okay? If you have to stretch the film a little bit, it's fine. But the whole idea is to have a tension free, stress free wrap. And again, in the chrome finish, what we're doing is we're maintaining the chrome finish. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to put a relief cut because up in this corner it becomes a little bit tricky. There we go. And I'm going to put a relief cut right about there. That will help this come down a little bit. All right. And then we're going to go over top. Try not to use any heats, I don't really need to. So again, make sure you're leaving like 3-4 inches on either end for the knifeless tape. Again, put a relief cut right there. And then I'm just going to trim off some of this excess on the top. Okay. Now we're going to break the knifeless. We're going to break the filament from the knifeless tape. Okay. What I usually just do this in one shot. I pinch it right there. We're folding it over. Okay. Let me zoom in for you, just so you can see. So I'm going to take it, pinch this, and then quickly give it a quick snap. So now we can see that the filament has broken away from the actual tape itself. Very important. Now I'm going to zoom back out. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to hold it and just continue, and then run my knifeless tape at a 45. Perfect. Now, since we're going to be doing the bottom piece afterwards, I'm going to be removing this, right? We don't want to remove the top piece. The top piece is our inlay. Perfect. So, let's pretend, I'm going to come down, bring the camera up and angle it down a little bit for you. So now let's, I don't know why I said pretend. So we're focusing on this area again, remember, right? So after I pull my knifeless tape out, we're going to go over the edge, and then we're going to take knifeless tape again, okay? Very important. Take your knifeless tape again. Make sure that edge is nice and tight. And we're going to line the knifeless tape up right on the very edge, okay? This is going to give us a 1/16 of an overlap, since the knifeless tape is an 1/8, I believe it's an 1/8 of an inch thick. So in total, we're going to have a 1/16 of an inch overlap. I'm kind of doing it backwards here. So we want to make this line straight. This line will determine how straight our cut is, basically. So I'm just pushing it down and trying to keep my edge nice and clean. So it gets a little bit tricky when we get up into like contoured areas, curved areas. Is there a difference between the design line and the finish line? Yes, of course. I prefer the finish line. I think it works better for stuff like this. I find the filament breaks a lot on the design line. All right, so again, we're going to come up and around the corner, very tension free, okay? But we're going to make sure we have that overlap on the chrome. So you can see I kind of lead it with my other hand, and then I feed the vinyl in. I'm going to cut off the excess. Done, right? I usually fold over one side. This way I can always grab it. Alright, I'm just going to fix this little bit up right here. It's repositioning the knifeless tape is not usually a good idea either, just so you know. It gets a little wonky. I just did, but it's fine. Alright. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see the overlap, okay? Hopefully that comes out. So can you guys see the overlap? So we have the knifeless tape itself running right on the edge of the chrome, and then the string, and then the knifeless tape again is on the other side of the string, right? The string being the filaments. Now what we're going to do is put the other piece of chrome on top. So let's put the other piece of chrome. The other piece of chrome is going to be here. So pretend we're wrapping the whole bumper right now, okay? So I'm going to pretend that I'm wrapped the whole bumper. Let's just I'll go over the bigger piece. I haven't actually wiped the surface, so whatever, it might be a little bit bumpy. Again, the whole purpose of this is to alleviate tension. And sometimes, in order to not break the finish on the chrome, we'll do an inlay. Alright, just kind of stuck to itself over here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to come a little higher so you can kind of get some coverage up there. And we can actually pretend that this bumper is fully wrapped. Okay. It doesn't take me too long to just do a quick piece like this. There's actually damage here, so that even if I cleaned it, it wouldn't matter. So there's the indicator over here, which I won't be able to stretch into properly, so I'm going to stretch into it, but again, that's probably going to lift right there. I might need a small inlay in that area. Anywhere where you're hyper extending the film or over stretching the film, hyper stretching the film, it's another one, is where you're going to want to do an inlay. It's really easy to make mistakes when, what was I going to say? It's really easy to make mistakes in the smaller areas like right here, because we're actually taking a little bit of vinyl and stretching it quite away compared to the size of the vinyl. So we have a very small piece of vinyl which is maybe as wide as that recess is deep. That's 100% stretch if we go to stretch it. Let me zoom back a little bit. Alright, so what we're going to do is make sure we're over top of the top piece. We have to be over top of the top piece of chrome. I didn't really leave myself enough here to make this pretty, but we're gonna just get it done. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, it's damaged. I think that's damaged. I don't remember. I have to look underneath the wrap. Doesn't really matter at this point because we're not leaving it on. So I'm going to do, again, relief cuts. It's going to help a little bit get over that edge. We don't want to stretch too much. That's very important. Alright, we're almost there as far as pulling this string goes. So you guys are about to see what the finished product looks like. Need another relief cut right in here. Perfect. So again, same deal when it comes to breaking the tape, or breaking the filament from the tape. Quick pull. Keep it on a 45, run it right through. What we're going to do now is we're going to remove the top piece. We're going to remove the inside piece now. Not the inside piece that we put in there first. We're going to remove the piece that we just overlapped with. Okay? So, okay. Now you'll notice that you can still see the knifeless tape probably. I can't really see on the small screen that I have on my camera, but it's probably noticeable in the video. So what I need to do is I need to remove it. And then once I remove it, then we're going to be talking about how this looks. So then we have to go over with our hands and push it all down and clean it all up. Just a little adhesive there. There we go. And that, my friends, is an inlay, okay? There's various areas to do this on a car. Now we're going to get right up close and personal, as good as the camera will allow. Okay, so tell me, I'll even come to the inside edge, okay? Tell me that you can see an edge there. I mean, if you can, I can't even see an edge, and I'm right here in person with it. So the edge is here. This will really vary depending on the color and finish of vinyl that you use. So we can come around here more if you want. You can look at it all different angles. Super clean, right? Oh. All right, so we're just going to talk about kind of what happened today. All right, so we noticed that this area right here looks fantastic. Now I'm going to do another piece with the satin white, and you're going to have a look at that, and you're going to see how that goes. It's going to be different, 100% it's going to be different. So I'm going to take this off. Actually, I can just go to the other side here. We'll leave both sides. That's this way. It's a little bit better. I can compare both sides right in person with you guys. All right, so let's grab the knifeless tape, and I'm going to lay it. Same deal right on that edge. It doesn't have to be like dead center. It just has to be on the edge, because the edge is not, it's not a really sharp bend. It does gradually curve, and you're just trying to keep your knifeless tape on that gradual curve. It's probably good enough. So I'm going to cut that. Let's grab the satin white. So we're going to do the top piece first, right? Very important. I'm going to cut off some of this. Let's just kind of get some of the dust out of there. There's a little bit, just to make it a little bit smoother looking. I'll go this way, it just makes more sense. So look, I can just place the vinyl on the area. If you're doing a larger piece all the way across, yes, it's going to be a little bit more challenging, but again, it's not that bad. This is actually, you'll probably save a bit of time in some situations on bumpers where when you're feeding the vinyl in, as opposed to trying to stretch it all in there afterwards. So then it can be a very efficient technique as far as time goes. Okay, so I'm going to come over. Now this is going to bend a little bit better than the chrome, just naturally. This is 3M satin white. This is the color I'm wrapping the car in. Again, what we're going to do, break the knifeless tape. So I'm going to get a little bit lower here. I didn't leave myself quite enough knifeless tape at the top. And then we're going to take knifeless tape and get that rolling. Now, it's not going to be a perfect cut near the end there. We're going to take the bottom piece, get it out of the way. Okay. I'm going to take out the knifeless tape, the rest of it. Done. Okay, next piece. Knifeless tape again. This might be a little bit more easy to see on where I'm actually laying the tape on the edge. Now you'll do this in like license plate areas, usually like heavily recessed license plate areas. Front bumpers, a lot of front bumpers have like fog light areas, like the middle area where the grill is, stuff like that. Like they're like huge open mouths. You have to do inlays. You can't not do inlays. Every car is going to have a seam on it somewhere. I don't think there's one car in the world that's completely seamless. There could be, but I haven't encountered one yet. So to think that you can wrap a car without any seams is very naive, first of all. Because that's just not going to happen. Try and get this done before 30 minutes. We're at 22. And I need more. Actually, let's see what I got here. Okay, I'm not really going to worry too much. We're just going to go over here. I need to get the knifeless tape out of the way. So we're going to go over here and just focus more on this side. Maybe I should grab a bigger piece because it will just look better in the end. Just give me 1 second, guys. Got one right here. I'm just going to eyeball it. Perfect. So, again, this is how we're going to do this. So I'm going to just pretend I'm wrapping the bumper. And bring it a little bit more in this direction. There we go. Happy with that. So knifeless tape is a very handy tool. As you can see, we can do stuff like this with it without actually cutting on the paint. So we're going to pretend that we're wrapping this. Just get me a little more down here. I'm trying to make it somewhat equal to the other side. All right, good enough. Now, I'm going to come over top of the knifeless tape. You can see I haven't even used any heat yet, right? Don't really need to. Not when we're doing inlays, because we're not really truly stretching the film. This one I don't really need any relief cuts. You can use them if you want to, but again, I don't really need it right now with the satin white. So let's do this now. So we're going to take the knife tape and we're going to give it one of those. We're going to remove the top piece because that's the piece that we're getting out of the way. Now you can see the knifeless tape's still there. Let's get that out of the way. And this line is much more visible, all right? So, is this a better option than failing vinyl? Yes, okay? If your vinyl is lifting, then that's a really bad sign, all right? So this line right here is a better option than the vinyl actually bubbling up or peeling back, stuff like that. So let's have a look at it up close. So already, I'm sure you guys can see it already. All right, and we move more in. This is why we have it face away, so we can clearly see it. You can see the top there where it connects. Right? You can see it all the way through. This one, again, clear adhesive, very shiny, a little bit thinner, hides it much better. So again, every color and every brand will show this differently. So in what we've done here today is explained why we do inlays and how we do inlays, okay? Why we do inlays? Because we want to alleviate tension. We don't want vinyl to pull back. We don't want vinyl to lift out of a recess. Having a line like that with the satin white is much better than, like I said, vinyl lifting out or vinyl pulling back. Again, with certain finishes like chrome, we're gonna have to do it no matter what because we don't want to break the finish. That will vary. So next up, my next video will be an overlay, and we'll show you how to do that. Now, you guys, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more videos, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take care.